Hey, youth workers, Tick here at YS, talking about the upcoming National Youth Workers Convention for all of you who love students or are just in it for the money. So we talked last time about some of the changes we're making to the convention and how cheap it was going to be this year, the fact that it'd be one night less in your hotel so you could bring more people, and the group rate was down to $198. Last time it was this cheap was $19.93. Oh yeah, look at our old brochure. $19.93. Who do we have speaking? You know, we had Evie Hill. He's dead. Gordon McDonald. He's no longer speaking much. But we had the awesome bands like Jeff Moore in the Distance, Glad, Out of the Gray, Steve Taylor as a performer, not a filmmaker. Anyway, we want to talk today about some of the great people we have in the big room. I am so pumped about who's going to be presenting this year. We brought some people that you know, some of your favorites, and some people I'm pretty sure that you've never heard that will really have a positive impact on your ministry. So this year we have 5 of the same people are going to be in each city. That's kind of fun. And so let me go down the list of who those are, some of you know. Starting with first Doug Fields. I start with Doug because he's one of my oldest friends and really one of the most well-known names in youth ministry. Well-known because he's so solid. He's been such a constant voice in youth ministry, a practitioner, as well as a visionary, someone who's served the local church so well for so long. Doug's going to be in both cities doing a whole bunch of seminars as well as the big room, and I'm very excited once again to have Doug with us. Kenda Dean, who is really one of my favorite people. She's so smart. You know, she's the youth ministry queen at Princeton. She is a United Methodist pastor, and she's written really some of the most important books on youth ministry. Years ago, The God-Bearing Life, that I thought was fantastic, Practicing Passion, and then recently, Almost Christian, that really is a must-read for everybody in youth ministry. Kenda is really one of the important voices to help us think deeply about youth ministry. What are we doing? What is the goal? What's the end of all of our efforts there? And the other thing I really love about her is that she has a heart to see the church be one, that the evangelicals and the main line and everybody out there would come together to serve God and reach students. So Kenda, again, will be in both cities, and she'll also be taking part in all of our theological forums that we're doing during our breakouts. So very excited to have her. Also, we're bringing back from last year Harvey Carey, who was just so fantastic in Nashville. The West Coast didn't get to hear him. And we loved him so much, we had him be part of all of our YS Paloozas this year. Harvey is the pastor of Citadel of Faith Covenant Church in Detroit and is really involved in some amazing things they're doing in the city to make the kingdom of God known there and reach people with the good news of the gospel. But Harvey was a longtime youth worker, loves youth ministry, and is just a great voice of challenge and encouragement. If you heard Harvey last year, I know you'll want to hear him again. Very exciting. Then someone we haven't had before, Jamie Torkowski. Maybe some of you have heard of To Write Love on Her Arms, which is really an amazing organization that brings hope and healing to those who suffer from depression, addiction, and self-injury. Jamie's a believer, and his ministry goes way beyond the walls of the church, is recognized really internationally for the hope and healing that they bring to people to help folks that really feel that life is not working for them at all. You'll hear Jamie's story, and really a challenge of what the church can do for those people and what difference we can make in the lives of people who are hurting. You'll love Jamie. He's fantastic. And then we have a little session where we're going to have 2 people. And this is going to kind of be the smart people session, although we've had lots of smart people already. So the smarter people, and again, people you may not be as familiar with. The first is Dr. Robert Epstein, who is a Harvard PhD. You know, he was editor of Psychology Today. He's author of a whole bunch of books, done tons of writing on teenage brains and teenagers in general. And last year he came out with a really important book called Teen 2.0 that really challenges some of the assumptions about adolescence, of just what is adolescence and what part are we playing in that? You know, how much of that really is developmental and how much of it is a culture have we just created, and what parts are adolescents really being treated like children when they can be treated like adults? I mean, really thought-provoking for those of us in ministry. I think you'll find that very exciting and interesting to kind of wrestle with for us in ministry. And then also Dave Livermore, who is a one-time youth worker for years. and now is like a researcher, a global thinker, and an author. And he's done groundbreaking work on cultural intelligence, CQ. He's training global leaders, mission agencies, Fortune 500 companies, all about what's it mean, how do we interact in this multicultural world that we live in. The world is shrinking, it's small, the globe is accessible to everybody now. What does it mean to be a global thinker and to have cultural intelligence as we interact with people from lots of different cultures? Well, that's incredibly important for those of us in youth ministry because so many of our settings now are multicultural. So how do we dig into that and understand that? Dave, he's also doing an intensive before on that whole thing, but he'll bring some, again, very helpful thinking for us as we think about how that applies to our ministry. In each of those sessions where we're doing those two, we'll have a third person. And in Atlanta, we have Sean King, who is a church planter of Courageous Church in Atlanta. And he's kind of like one of the founder of Twit Change, someone who's bringing social media into play for social justice. And he's making an incredible difference on using social media to bring issues of justice and fairness to people who are hurting. He's a regular guest on NPR. People call him like the Facebook pastor. But he's really got a handle of how to use social media for the kingdom of God, and he'll speak into that. And here in San Diego, we have Nicole Lim, who I know most of you haven't heard of. She's 21. She's just out of college. She's a filmmaker. She was a youth group kid. Now she works with students in the Salvation Army just outside of San Francisco. But she went and did a movie as a project in Africa on women who were abused and were subject to sex slave and being raped and just kind of thrown away. And while she was over there, God kind of said, you should do more than do a movie about these people. You're being called here to make a difference. And so at 21, she has founded Freely in Hope, an organization dedicated to liberate young women who are sex victims, trapped in poverty in Kenya. And they're doing amazing stuff. And it's just a great story for you and for you think about your students. At 21, jump in, make a difference. And also, she's using her film, her art, not just, is the only option for me in ministry to be a pastor or to work in a church. Here, God has called her to use her filmmaking and her photography to make a difference in the world. Nicole Lim, you'll love her. Awesome opportunity. Then our last two people, one in each city. In San Diego, Francis Chan, probably someone else you haven't heard of. He really doesn't have a church, but he has a couple things to say, and I think if you give him a chance, you may enjoy his word. Obviously, just one of the prophetic voices of our age. Whenever Francis has been to our convention, he speaks so much into our lives of what does it mean to be a follower of Jesus? What should it look like to be sold out for the kingdom of God? And once again, we're excited that Francis will come and challenge us in our faith and encourage us. And lastly is Reggie Joyner, who's become a good friend of ours. He spoke at all of the YS Paloozas this year. Reggie was one of the founding pastors of North Point in Atlanta and has started Rethink, the Orange Conference, Orange Leaders, and he's really helping the church wrestle with how do we do this whole raising kids, children, and teens in the church? And how do we get families involved? And we just need to rethink it all. And I think Reggie's doing a great job of leading the way. And don't be kind of thrown by, Reggie was at North Point. Yeah, it's this big, giant church. That's not his passion, big, giant churches. He cares and wants to see ministry done and knows some of the best ministry done in our country is done in small churches, in rural areas, in the middle of the city, not just big, giant suburban mega church. So he has a heart and ideas and passion and creativity to bring into all kinds of places in the church. So we're really excited that Reggie's going to be with us in Atlanta. So that's a lot. A lot of people, a lot of information, but I think you'll be excited about them. When our website comes up May 1st, the real one, you can have links to go learn more about all these people and find out just why we're so darn excited about it. So we'll be back in a few more days to talk about some of the music, talk about our seminars, and all the other cool stuff going on. So talk to you.